My name is Aseem, and in this video we are going to learn about the pre-join or a foreign key relationship or the nesting or embedded object, how that works in Mongo. So essentially, if we take example of a table called as a student table, and student has an address. So in the normalization MySQL world or any other stuff, maybe Java, Hibernate, wherever you work, you would have an entity for the student and an entity for the address. Both would be different, and then you will join it with the student ID. So we would just try to quickly learn it. So you have a student, and student has a roll number 1, and if you need to get the address, and address would go over here, and inside the address you can have several other fields. So this is imagine it's an address table. An address table would have line 1, and this would have some value, and then you would have line 2, which would have its own value. You can call city, state, and then something else. So there could be numerous fields. You would just take any random value. So this is a table, and this table can have several values, several rows basically. And this address line 1 could be anything. Sure. So now just imagine that we need to connect this information, whatever is in this table, to connect with this. So instead of saving it separately and then while retrieving, joining them and getting the results, Mongo uses something which is called as the embedded object. So, so there are two ways. Either you can refer what we call it as reference, and then you can give the object ID of whatever the next collection. Both works in Mongo, but it depends on what is more efficient for you, how you would like to go with it. So if you have this object, which you call it as here, you can give it a field as underscore ID, which would be add1, for example. And then if you give reference, so you can do a join. So this would be the addr1, which is the address 1 ID. But while doing the Mongo, you need to do two queries. First, before returning this, you will fetch this based on the reference. You will go to this collection, and then you can fetch it from here. Whenever we give reference, it's a good practice that we should always, first field would be the reference, and then reference is another object which would have the underscore ID and collection. This way it is clear, and whatever is the name of the collection or table, whatever you say, it would be like this, and we are all set over here. So this is how in MySQL way it would work, but Mongo is flexible, so you can do both things. Wherever required, you can do it this way, and then you can always do it in another way, which I would prefer, or for which people would technically use Mongo, is a pre-join. Pre-join means you will join it upfront, just like this. So you can have a foreign key relationship which adds additional overhead. And why I'm saying this, for example, you have 1,000 students here or 50,000 students in US, and each student in that Texas university, if you have address for each, so imagine database would be loaded that it has to find all those records in the address table, match with this particular ID, then join it. And if you want to avoid it, just keep this information simple then and there. So within a query, no seeking, no searching, nothing, the result would be returned, and that's how it scales it super fast. So this is the example which we are going to try it out, and which we are going to do the embedded object inside it. We can try one by one both. So we'll follow the best practice. We will say object addr1. Yep, so we need to use a var. Let's do it again. We'll say obj addr1, and this is our object. Now we would say dd.test collection dot insert and obj addr1. Now this has been added. So and it doesn't so we don't have any address table as of now, and this ID doesn't is not there. So in MySQL, typically RDBMS, they would say you are trying to insert inconsistent key basically, so it won't allow you to insert. But here you are able to insert even though child might come later, or child might get deleted whenever, whatever, that doesn't matter. Now we would try to do a insert on the pre-join. So we will say obj pre-join, and then we would take the object which is pre-join, which would work in a more efficient way. We would say obj pre-join, and it worked. So we don't have any identifier this. Now it becomes difficult how to get this, but we would try to get it with roll number 2, and we might end up having multiple records. Let's try. So db.testCollection.find. Yeah, so as expected, we ended up having multiple records. But this is the record which we were looking for, because this is embedded. Now imagine that you have to figure out based on the field of the pre-join. So every student will have different states, different addresses. Now you want to find all those students who live or who are from state Texas. Then how to do that? Because this is one object, and inside that object there could be another object, and inside that there could be another object as well. So we will see that now, how to figure that out. So there is something which is called as the dot operator, which would help us, and we would try to look that into the next video, wherein we will learn how to get the pre-join objects and nested pre-join objects in the query for the find query. Thank you.